Hi, I'm Hofer-Holdeman. I'm principal at Mayberry Middle School in USD 259.
And I'm Shannon Benoit. I'm the Executive Director of Elementary for USD 259.
And we are co-facilitators of what we call the Leadership Work Group. And this first slide is a quick model of our district setup in terms of these decision making. You'll see on the left-hand side here that the academic leadership team, we call it the ALT, they're kind of the master decision making body. The district level MTSS team is a secondary level. They're the ones that hear a lot of the ideas presented and give some feedback for that. And then you'll see these balloons on the outside. They are the different work groups. Our work group is the leadership work group. We actually began in January of 13, and we'll talk about what our goals are here in just a minute. So that's kind of a structure of how the district is set up. Our leadership work group was presented with a task of consistent implementation of a plan that develops and maintains leaders at all levels in a way that creates a pipeline of sustaining leadership within our MTSS work framework. We've gone through a lot of discussion starting back in January of 2013 on what exactly that means for USD 259, and we basically come up with the following structure. 3 components to our leadership pipeline are the FLA, the AP2P, and the PIP. That is not very self-explanatory at first, but we'll go through each one in detail here in just a second. The first one is the FLA, the Future Leader Academy, and this is more of the beginnings. How are we going to recognize potential leaders? Perhaps they're teachers in the classroom, perhaps they're already on their way towards administration or other leadership. How do we recognize those people? How do we start to push them in the direction that we want them to go? We also are wanting to work on connecting with local universities and forming a relationship so that those people that do start the program in educational administration, we can recognize the potential in those leaders as well. And then once we do get them into the pipeline, we want to encourage and cultivate and educate those people and provide them with opportunities so that we can retain them within our district.
One of the ways that we decided to start doing this was we knew we needed to start with our assistant principals first. And we did that because we wanted to actually craft some academies that would benefit them more than benefiting us. So we started by giving them a needs assessment that will guide the assistant principal academies, and it actually provides us a way to differentiate their learning. Then we also moved into creating an AP mentoring checklist that they will do with their principals in order to guide some of the learning themselves in their building when they're working with their principal mentors. So as you see the next slide, this is a sample of our assistant principal checklist that we just had created. It's broke up into several different areas. It's about 7 pages. This is just a snapshot to show you. But you can see like the header, this particular one is systems. And so it breaks down with security and schedules and work orders. And then these things that are right here would actually be where we have the assistant principal work with the principal, and they just record when they were trained, experienced, or exposed to a specific topic, and then what people, resources, or location would they do or need when they go into their own building. It's a place for them to record so that they know right who to contact for each area. And then if there's a follow-up date needed, we have that noted, and then a place for them to take notes. This is a piece that we're going to actually allow the assistant principals to use on their own. It's not going to be something that we make them turn in every week, but we want them to actually work this and work with their principals, and so they have the mentoring, because as you can see there's a lot of different components that go under one header in order to, when you first have your own building. This is the way that we got to some of this work. This is a sample of our survey that we're now giving to our assistant principals. And we're beginning to do this with our first year principals as well. But this is just, you can see our headers: time management, organization, budget, Apple Track, discipline, crisis management, PeopleSoft, evaluation, school service, and building culture. These are the areas that we identified as a team that we felt we needed to see if assistant principals and first year principals really had a good understanding of. So they ranked themselves, and then we color-coded it. So if it's red, it means that we need training in that particular area. That particular principal or assistant principal needs training in that area. I did take the principal's name and the school off for FERPA laws. But so you'll see red, that means that principal thought that they needed more support with time management They felt they were proficient with organization, they wanted more support with budget, they were proficient with Apple Track, proficient with discipline, proficient with crisis management, and they felt like they needed more with PeopleSoft, and then proficient with evaluation school service. So you can kind of get a feel for how it all laid out. So if it says new learning, that means that they are starting to learn it, but they could still use some more support in that area. And so when we built our academies, we took this, and then the people who said that they are proficient, I'm actually asking them to help do some of the presenting with me so that we can start building collaboration and building that climate with our AP so that they know how to work with staff within their own building. The Principal Induction Program, this is our, the work that we're starting right now is just with our first year principals, and we did the same kind of a process with them. We've given them a needs assessment, and then we have a coaching tool that was developed by our team, and we're starting to use that with our second year principals. They're going to use that coaching tool with their mentors, which is another principal in the district. And then we still do have academies that we support them. Our first year principals actually have an academy once a month, and we do the same thing. We look back at their data. Can you flip back for just a second? We look back at their data, where they rank themselves under the categories, and then we go forth from that and we build their academies by what they need. And then our coaching tool will basically be used to guide first and second year principals.
So as you can see, we've put in a fair amount of work already, including work over this past summer. So we've actually been working at this for about 1.5 years now. And moving forward, a big portion of our work will be fine-tuning some of these checklists and needs assessment and coaching tools to drive those academies, to drive those mentor-mentee relationships, and to drive that learning so that we can support those new leaders and developing leaders as we go. But then a lot of our work remaining this year will be on further developing this Future Leaders Academy and that whole pipeline. How can we recognize those teachers in the district that are showing potential? How can we encourage them to get into some sort of administrative program, some sort of leadership program? And then how can we then move them into those next stages? That is our plan for the remainder of the year.